All right, folks, we are back. Another one. We're going to talk about album artwork today. I mean, yesterday we talked about sponsorships and hooks and getting that question right. The question of how do I solve this problem or what do I do right? Well, podcast album artwork is kind of the same deal. It's a little bit hook and a little bit story. If you're familiar with the hook story offer framework, so the hook is the thing that draws somebody in, right? And the artwork is usually the first thing that people see, and so it kind of has to grab them, has to get their attention, and then it has to tell a little bit of a story too. Now, a little bit of the story does not mean that you put your face on it, right? I'm just going to throw that out there. It drives me crazy. You get this, you get the podcast, and it's like some dude's face, and then the name of the show underneath. And that really doesn't tell them a whole lot. I mean, the title of your show is also kind of the hook, right? Because we talk about Ruby, or we talk about business, or we talk about money, or whatever, right? And so that's a bit of the hook. And I guess you could think of the artwork as a story, but the artwork has to be engaging, and it has to kind of catch their eye, because all of the rest of it, the titles and everything else, if you're looking in iTunes or anything else, they're all the same color, they're all the same font, and they all kind of look the same. And so you've got to have something else that kind of visually gets their attention. And so there are a few things that you can do that really make podcast artwork pop. I wish I had some of mine here. I think I might have some stickers here or something. Anyway, I'll find some later and I'll actually show you an example. But yeah, so you get the artwork, and the artwork needs to have obviously the name of the show or what the show's about on it somewhere. And it needs to be rather large. Just because when they take the album artwork, now album artwork for iTunes has to be, I think, 3000 by 3000 or 2800 by 2800 pixels, which is big. It's really a big image. But they shrink it down, right, when they show it in the directory. So it has to be big enough for them to be able to read it clearly. Okay. Some of our artwork kind of hits the mark on this, and some of ours doesn't actually. I need to go back and actually get some work done on those. But yeah, then it has to have the name of the show, the topic of the show, right? So one example, if you go look up Ruby Rogues on iTunes or in the iTunes store, you'll find our podcast, and it very obviously says Ruby. It has a nice image, right, that gives us a little bit of a brand, and it's tagged with programming and things like that, so people know where it fits, right? And that's really solid branding. JavaScript Jabber, same thing, right? And it's just a solid image. By the way, you want an image that you can put on t-shirts and things like that. That's the other reason why faces don't work as well, is that you can build your tribe around your brand, and the way you do that is not by having people plaster your face on their shirts. It's actually by having something that people can, it'll be a logo or something they're excited to wear. So, Ruby Rogues and JavaScript Jabber on our shows actually do a good job of this on the album artwork. They're bright colors. That's another thing that makes them stand out. Most album artwork you'll find white background or black background, right? And so if you have a colorful background, you have an image that's engaging, that really, really helps. If you have an image that kind of tells them the story as far as what the show's about, that can also help. But it can't be too intricate, because again, they shrink it way down for the directories. So it has to look nice and has to be, visible at smaller sizes. So just putting that out there. So you've got the words that tell them what it's about. You've got the picture that tells them what it's about. And then you've got, all of the text underneath, right? So your title and your subtitle, which are all put into your RSS feed. Okay. Besides all of that, the other thing that I would do is just, you can put a little bit of subtitle on there. So this is something that I wish I had done on the iPhreaks show. So iPhreaks is our iOS development show, and the artwork just says iPhreaks, and nobody knows what iPhreaks is. An iPhreaks is, right? It's not a word. It's just the name of the show. And some people can probably get an idea that it's about iOS something, right? Or Apple something, but it doesn't really give them that strong indication of anything else. So what I'm kind of thinking about doing is going back, because it's got a really engaging image on it. It's an iPhone with tentacles, and and so the image is engaging and the image is interesting, but underneath, I need to put something in there that says a podcast for iOS developers or something like that, right? And that way it's obvious, oh, I'm an iOS developer, I want to click on that. And so I need to add it to that, right? React Native Radio, it has a phone on it as well. And the image honestly could be a little bit more engaging in that case. But yeah, then same deal, right? It says React Native in the title. And so people who do React Native know that it's a show for them. Some of our other shows like React Roundup, Views on Vue, and some of those, they don't have the visually engaging image on them. And as I've looked into this more and done more work and research on this, the more I'm really wanting to get those redesigned, because I really want them to have that engaging feel. One that I'm on the fence on, I'm going to throw out there, is Elixir Mix. And the reason is because Elixir is a programming language, so people know that it's a show for them. But the issue is that it's kind of got so Elixir's icon is a droplet that has kind of a stylized feel to it. And we have that stylized feel surrounding the text. But it's not an image, it's not an icon that, I can print on a shirt, which I've regretted in the past. And so again, I'm looking at, okay, how can I do this? But I can't steal their logo because it's trademarked or copyrighted, right? So Elixir's trademark or copyright is theirs, right? And so I don't want to use their imagery, but I want to have something that harkens to that imagery, right? And so people identify with that particular topic. So those are kind of the ideas that I'm going to throw out there. So again, it's the wording, so your title or whatever it says on there, or subtitles sometimes, needs to tell people what the show's about, and it needs to be legible at small sizes. You need an engaging icon or logo or branding or something that goes into that, and it needs to tie neatly into other brands or other topics or other things that people identify with your topic, right? So in my case, the programming languages almost all have logos, and so I can make something that looks like it belongs with that logo, right? If you're talking about like financial planning or something, you may have a little bit of a tricky time figuring that out, right? And so you might play a little bit with kind of having a spreadsheet motif behind it, or a stock chart, right? Or something like that, right? Where you kind of play that in the background so people go, oh yeah, this is an investment show, but and then also having that logo or that, that thing that kind of draws them in and says, and this is us, right? And so anyway, that's what's going to get you there. That's what's going to get you the clicks, is the more people identify by seeing the image and saying, yeah, that's for me. That's what it's going to do. So, anyway, that's how you do images to get clicks. I'll do another video probably tomorrow, and I'll find some of my stickers, and that way we can kind of break down where we're going with all this stuff. So anyway, that's what I've got today. Hopefully that helps you out with getting your show together or getting your artwork done. And yeah, until next time, Max out.